Hello, everyone. I had a question about this problem from section 2.8, my math lab homework. It's number 8. And I thought that everybody could benefit from this explanation, so I decided to just make a quick video. So we're finding the difference quotient. So if you recall, the difference quotient is f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Okay, so we need to set that up and then simplify it. Typically, it's the simplifying that is the worst part. So we take our function, in place of x, we put x plus h. So here's one thing that I want to say. Do not put parentheses around the x plus h, because then it's not as easy to see, because I don't need them. It's being 27 is being added. So do not put parentheses around there. Just leave it like that. Or you can put parentheses around the whole denominator when we talk about common denominator. Okay, so that's number 1. Then we're going to subtract. And then we're going to subtract the original function, which is 2 over x plus 27, and all of that over h. So the worst part about this problem is simplifying the numerator. Okay, so what I might do is come out here to the side and take a look at that. All right, we're subtracting rational expressions, so we need to get a common denominator. And the way you get a common denominator with rational expressions is both denominators need to be factored. Well, I can't factor x plus h plus 27 because there's no common factors. It's all addition. So technically, that is a factor. The other factor is 1. That polynomial is prime. Same thing here with x plus 27, no common factor. Okay, so the least common denominator then is the product of those two factors. It's like getting a common denominator for 1/3 and 1/5. 3 and 5 do not have any common factors, so my common denominator is the product of those two is 15. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite those two fractions. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna have enough room, so I better go down below. Of course. All right, too big. Okay, so I'm gonna rewrite each of those fractions with the common denominator. And actually, let me do it in a different color so I remember. I'll go back to that original. All right, so my common denominator is the product of those two. Okay, and then if you remember, I have to decide what to multiply to get those denominators. So when I go over up here, I have a factor. This factor is here, so I'm missing the x plus 27. So that means I multiply the top by x plus 27 and the bottom, or by a form of 1, so I'm not changing the value. So in the bottom, I get my common denominator. In the top, I have to distribute the 2. You do need to multiply in the top. Denominators can be factored. Numerators have to be multiplied out. So this becomes 2x plus 54. Okay, similar process over here. I have the x plus 27. I'm missing that factor of x plus h plus 27. So I once again multiply top and bottom by that, or by a form of 1, so I'm not changing its value. And yes, we have to distribute the 2. Okay, we distribute the 2 to all of those. So that becomes 2x plus 2h plus 54. And then don't forget, we are subtracting. When you subtract polynomials, remember, you have to, we're subtracting this numerator has more than one term, so we have to distribute. So basically, in the numerator, I have this, 2x plus 54 minus 2x minus 2h minus 54. So I'm going to go ahead and combine those, combine like terms, and then I'm putting it over my common denominator. Okay, So when I simplify that, I've got 2x minus 2x. Those add up to be 0. I've got 54 minus 54. Those add up to be 0. So all that's remaining in here is 2h. Okay, so all I did was simplify the numerator. All I did was this part right here, and I got it into one single fraction. Okay, so now I have to go back and don't forget about the h in the denominator. So now I take that rational expression in the numerator. What's going on here? That rational expression in the numerator, and I put it over h. Okay, so I've got that messy fraction in the top and h in the bottom. Okay, and if you recall, we know a fraction means division. So I'm taking that fraction in the top and I'm dividing by h, which means instead of dividing, I multiply by the reciprocal. So think about that. That's h over 1. So I'm going to take the top and multiply by the reciprocal of h, which is 1 over h. Okay, and then when we multiply, remember we always learned in the beginning in the old days to cross cancel or divide out common factors. So I can see I have a common factor of h, numerator and denominator. I will divide those out, which gives me negative 2 times 1, so I have negative 2 on top. And then I have the x plus h plus 2 over x plus 27 in the bottom. And we're good here. You do not need to multiply that out. Actually, you don't want to, okay? Because in calculus, you're going to put 0 in for h, and we like denominators factored. So there is our simplified difference quotient.